awareness into this whole exercise, and it's not an easy job. Particularly for an organization like Railways, when they are recruiting 2.35 lakh people in a year, it's a humongous job. It's not easy. Is there an answer for this problem? Yes, obviously. We all have seen that many exam bodies and recruitment agencies have moved into a computer-based test. You just make a statement that, yeah, put it on computer, it will run, and then people will take the test. It's just not that easy, but it's clearly a solution, and this solution solves quite a few of the problems that people have been facing in the paper and pen mode or in the traditional exam delivery mode. So what happens when you move on a computer-based test? You can break the test takers into multi-batches. You don't need to push all of them in one single batch. You move on a multi-batch mode. And the question paper is coming out, randomly coming out of a question bank. So no human being will know what's going to be the question paper before the actual delivery. It gets pushed just 1 hour before the test is taken in an encrypted mode through a network from a remote location, and it can answer only at the time of start of the test. That means no candidate or even a test administrator or any other third party will get a chance to see the content of the question paper. So technologies have moved in that manner that you can deliver a safe and secure test in computer-based tests for very large volume of candidates. The advantage is that someone can look into those details. There are no printing errors, so accuracy is almost maintained to 100% level. They are time bound, and there is greater transparency. The best part of computer-based test is that you can pick up what we call it in this world as items. Items means a typical question. You can bring in about 300, 400, 500 questions from various subject matter experts sitting across the country, build a question bank, and none of them will know to which exam that particular question is going. So they will just set a question paper and it goes into a bank and it's randomly pulled. Therefore, there is absolutely no chance of any unfairness even from the point where the question is originating. I don't want to elaborate on what kind of problems that the country has been facing in the traditional mode, but it's good to look forward. There is a very good development in Indian Railways. The RRB started conducting online exams or the computer-based tests. They started about 6 months ago, and all of us should give a big applause for the Indian Railways for moving in this direction. This reform was taken under the leadership of the present government and the present minister. It was not an easy one. It's not an easy job, because the test takers are big, and the process involved are not easy. Getting people to move to the computer-based test also calls for some change management within the railways. I think the team at Railways did a wonderful job in moving across to the computer-based test. Just to give you an idea, around 2 to 3 crore people will be taking the test in the next 1 to 1.5 years only for railway jobs. Just think of the number. That's huge. That's huge. There is a question that is moving around whether the country has enough infrastructure to take this kind of load. But having said that, all we want to say is that there is a need to build capacity, and there is also a need to build redundancy for the railways. In our opinion, or in my personal professional opinion, railways did the right job of choosing the partner rather than just going on a regular mode to test out the pilot. But it's important for railways to build redundancy in these operations and get in a panel of maybe 2 or 3 service providers who can help them. We've seen that whenever you have a very large project, a multi-vendor approach has helped the body or the organization or the institution, because you are building redundancy into the system. You're also bringing the best practices from different people. We've just picked up data here. If you look at it, almost every product or supply or a service, railway has got multiple vendors. I'm sure that railway will move into the mode of empaneling multiple service providers, but they've started in this mode. This is a big challenge. I do not know how many of you have understood. If you go and talk to the RRBs, they will tell you the challenge that they are currently facing. When you put multiple vendors, probably each one competing with each other on a continuous basis and trying to build capacity, trying to build best practices and supporting the railways from different angles. One important point that I want to highlight, whenever this is specific to the government officials who are sitting here, whenever you talk of an e-governance project, you end up thinking about one service provider because people think that you will have to converge all services to one portal or one software or one infrastructure. An exam and delivery, even a computer-based test, is not an e-governance project. It's an assessment project. There is a big difference between an assessment project and an e-governance project. If you talk about an aircraft carries a lot of software. There's maybe about 15-20% of its aircraft systems are around software. Will you call that a software project? No. Very similar to even your automobiles today. The software is going to drive your car automatically. Will you call it a software project? No. It's an important part of the overall system. It's an automotive industry or an airline industry. Similar to that, computer-based test or testing and assessment is a different industry across the world and treated as a different industry because there are many sensitive and secure processes that are running to make the test happen on the ground. So we look at it as, or one should look at it as, a testing and assessment industry and not as an e-governance project. By design, examinations are kept disparate. Whether you go to an educational institution in school or you go to university, all other processes of the institution stop just before the examination. The entire examination conduct is treated as a separate project and they run disparately. They're not mixed with anything else. One exam project to the next, they're all kept disparately. For example, if railways are conducting about 20-25 different projects in a year, all of them can run disparately, separately, individually and independently. On the ground, physically, even in the old world, there is no connect between these projects. Likewise, when you deliver it on computer-based tests, there is absolutely no need to connect them to any other software. Primarily due to two reasons. First one is security. The other one is that there is no benefit that you get by plugging all of them. Therefore, what we want to highlight here is that it's important for railways because when you've got such a humongous job of getting 2.35 lakh people within the system, I mean there are 2 to 3 crore people that are going to take the test. It's important for railways to build redundancy. When I say redundancy in terms of service providers, just not one. Maybe it's important for railways to build about 2 or 3 service providers who will set benchmarks continuously. They may compete with each other, but it's a healthy competition. This is the message that we would like to know. Merittrac being a pure testing and assessment company and being a professional from the industry, I thought I'll share this perspective. If there are any specific questions, I'll be glad to answer after this forum. Thank you so much.